Okay, so I'm delighted to say that we've finally been joined by new Sunderland RCA manager Dave Dickson this evening following tonight's training session. Dave, let's finally welcome you to the Sunderland LGV Park.
Thank you. Yeah.
So first of all, as I did with Cagle at the weekend, do you want to give supporters a little bit of background about yourself? Tell us about your background, your previous clubs and so on.
Oh, so my background going way back was in junior football, which I loved. I started about maybe 15, 16 years ago in that. With clubs north of the Tyne, if you like, Newcastle. So with a club called Newcastle City Juniors. I took them under another name, Newcastle East End, but we had the same set of kids for a lot of years and worked really hard with them. And I loved that time, but we took them from under 10s right up to under 17s, but they ended up dominating everything. They played the year up and we ended up playing in the National League where the home ground was down at York City. And we played teams as far away as Bournemouth and Torquay and stuff like that. So that was a great experience for the lads. They're all kind of 21 now and a lot of them are kicked on. There's some great players that have come out of them and they're playing for the likes of... There's one of them at Spennymoor and he was at Blythe Spartans. We've got other ones at like kind of South Shields and stuff like that. But they're a great set of lads, and there's a couple of them that have kind of got back here as well. 3 of them actually this season. So they're all excellent players who've played at a high level. But that's my kind of initial background. I got involved with Gateshead. We'll not talk too much about that. But I took the reserves at Gateshead. When Stevie Watson was the first team manager, I left the club, and there was a lovely lad called Ben Clark who was running the reserves, but Ben took the first team, I took the reserves. But there was a hell of a lot of mess on at Gateshead at that time, but we'll not go into that. I took Billy Synthonia, Sinners in the Northern League. We had a very young squad, must have been about when COVID kind of kicked off about 4 years ago, whatever it was. And we had them in a promotion place, youngest squad in the league at the time. And a great set of players actually if they'd have stuck together, but COVID got in the way of that with about 8 weeks to go of the season. And then kind of a year, if you like, of doing nothing but kind of playing kind of over 50s football myself. And then went back to Sinners last season, enjoyed it again, young squad, not massively dissimilar to kind of Sunderland, a little bit in that, they didn't have the easiest time, they haven't got a ground and all that kind of stuff, so there's a few things going on with that club, but they've got a great history and a good set of people. And then the opportunity came for Sunderland here, and it's the kind that I like to get a hold of, a club that I think it's got a lot of potential, but there needs to be a lot of steadying of what's going on first and get the foundations right and build the right kind of squad pretty much from scratch. That's not based around how much people get each week and all that kind of stuff, where there's an awful lot of that going around in the Northern League at the minute. But it's a bunch of young people who either want to kick on and progress and play at a higher level, or it's some experienced players who've been around a little bit who equally want to buy into a project from the early stage and drive the team at the right ends of that first division, and I think we can do that.
And what is the Dave Dickson philosophy when it comes to football? What can supporters expect from your style of play?
All the teams that I've had, they would be identified by being teams that are quite easy on the eye, if you like. It's easier said than done, some of the kind of pitches that you play on, etc. But we like to dominate the ball, so generally speaking, we'll play through the thirds. And, I'll encourage my teams to play through any kind of press that they're going to get. Well, obviously, there's times where you've got to go a bit more direct, etc. But so in possession, a team that is patient on the ball but likes to keep the ball, will play with a purpose. But out of possession, a team that's very organised, very fit, and gets the ball back pretty early. So again, achieving that and wanting to do that can be two different things, and you've got to understand that we've got a very new squad here. There's some pods of players who played together before, but as a group they've never played together. So as I was saying to the lads at training there, most clubs have maybe it's got about 3 or 4 players going out, 3 or 4 or 5 players coming in. We've got a whole brand new squad that we've got to put together, so it's going to take a lot of hard work on the training ground to put our stamp of play on them. But I think the types of player that we've got, and there's a few that have played for me before anyway, will as quickly as you can do, gel into the style of play that we want them to do, and that's what pre-season's about.
So that was going to be my next question. What are you going to be looking to get out of this pre-season period? Obviously, you've been putting them through their paces for these last few sessions and working on fitness. When the games start on Saturday week, with the match at Esch winning, the first one in that tournament, what is it that you're going to be looking to achieve from those opening 2 or 3 friendlies?
It's real. I never want to lose any games of football. Okay, so but it's not the results that are important at this stage, and actually but it is about us getting that shape going, so that when we've got the ball, we've got to be trusting in possession, and we will play in fairly dangerous positions, if you like, or the kind of supporters who are casually watching thinking, I'm a bit uncomfortable with my team playing there, but no, we will play like that, and we'll be fine doing it eventually. But there's going to be mistakes, etc. made. That's inevitable as part of the kind of learning pattern that the guys are going to go on. But those early games is all about shape, off the ball, but probably, on the ball, but even more importantly off the ball as well. How good and how organised and how aggressively and quickly can we get the ball back, etc. So what I would want, I want to win games, but at the end of the day, it's about, can we quickly dominate possession in those kind of early games, and if we can, then I know we're at least moving in the right direction. But there's an awful lot of work to be done, and what's our first game? A week Saturday, isn't it? On the 8th. We haven't even got everybody together yet, so we haven't done a session yet with everybody in. So there's an awful lot of work to be done, but I would expect anybody watching, not a game park results, I'm talking about the play, I would expect there to be progress between the 8th of July and say the 28th of July, or whenever the season starts at the back end of July. But we've got so much to put in those 3 or 4 weeks. It's going to be a real challenge. Obviously the fixtures are out for this start of the season, and you don't know. People say, I like the start that you've got, or I don't like the start. Nobody knows, because everybody's going to be bringing new players in. As you hear about budgets being thrown about at various different clubs, some of them are quite staggering how much they're prepared to spend at this level, and you do wonder whether it's sustainable. So one of the things that we're talking about is everything that we do, it has to be sustainable. The club has to get through the season at whatever rate that we agree, without there being any kind of stress, etc. So that's one of our aims, is to make sure that we're operating under budget, if you like, so that that there is no stress, etc. But that pre-season, it's about getting our shape, and we've got a lot of training sessions. It's the training sessions that I'm interested in, actually, more than the games, because we can't just ask the guys to go out and execute what we're trying to achieve here. So I almost wish the season was starting at the end of August as opposed to the end of July, because there's a lot of work to be done, but we'll get there, and it's quite exciting, isn't it?
Absolutely. Now, obviously, you are, like you say, almost building a side from scratch. We can't ask you about every one of the new signings, because there are so many that we're bringing in at the moment. But let me just mention 3 that have caught the eye.
Yeah.
Firstly, one that's aroused a lot of interest on social media is the signing of Stevie Black from South Shields. What can you tell the supporters about Stevie?
Stevie's he's played for me for years, Stevie, and Stevie he's a little lad. People kind of the same, and I think, he ain't got too much to worry about. Yeah, he's excellent. He's a very aggressive player. Out of possession, he's very brave. But he's a very Stevie. I first saw Stevie play when he was 10 years old. He's and he always has been a very intelligent player. He spent a lot of his youth at kind of Hartlepool Academy, as it was then, and he came to me when he was Stevie will have come to me when he was about 14. Started straight in the team, maybe even pushing on 15, but he started straight in the team. Was a key part of the team that won leagues and county cups kind of the year up. He was part of the team that won the national cup, etc. Stevie went to South Shields Academy. It's an outstanding academy they got at South Shields. There's a lot of good ones about. Parkview's a really good one. Stevie went to South Shields. My view is that he will eventually kind of play at that kind of level. But everybody develops at different stages, and Stevie physically has taken a year or two to kind of fill out, but he is that now, and Stevie will supporters within a month or two will recognise what's good about him, because I can count on one hand the amount of times he's given the ball away. He's just a very sensible, mature player, and he's a good character as well. You know, he can be a bit of a controversial character at times with some of the things he does on the likes of social media. But he's a quality kid, and he's a good laugh. But he's a very good player. I've always liked Stevie.
And one of the players that you brought with you from Synthonia is Jack Cagle. He's impressed, particularly with his speed in these training sessions. What can you tell us about Jack?
Jack, he came off second best in one of the sprints, but I did have him with ASAP, who's ridiculously quick. Jack's only 17, right? And a bit like Stevie, actually, a similar kind of player. He's a lad whose decision making is outstanding for a kid that's as young as he is. He came in, I saw him, he was invited to one training session that we had with Sinners last season, and after 5 minutes I had said to the guy, to Carl, look, we get him in, because you could see straight away his decision making is outstanding. He's very brave, he's strong for a young kid, he's extremely fit, and he's very versatile with where you can play him. You can play him kind of anywhere on the left, but certainly you can play him as a 10, you can play him as a holding midfielder. He's just a very good player. He's a lovely kid as well, and got a great attitude. Jack will also benefit clearly with another year or two on his back, so he's only going to be a better player as the season goes on. He's far from the finished article, but he will get significant game time as the season progresses. And again, he's another one that when you watch him, you'll understand why we wanted him so desperately, because he will be a very good player.
And then tonight we've added more experience in the side with the signing of 33-year-old centre-half Ben Riding. What can you tell us about Ben?
Centre-half, he played him up front in that session there. He was outstanding. Ben's a look. You need experience as well as, look, we've got a lot of good young talent coming in, but you need a spine of the team that's experienced. So there'll be other players that we're going to be announcing that'll underline the experience side of it as well. But Ben's one of those, and Ben, he's a really good, strong character, and he's a good footballer. He's an outstanding organiser and talker. I went to watch a game earlier in the season for Billy Town when they were playing away at Birtley. Ridiculously, they lost a 3-goal lead, but that wasn't down to him. The managed to lose the game. But Ben's, it was obvious from watching 2 minutes of that he is just a complete organiser, and it's the first session that he's had with the lads there, and even in the first drill that he did, he's organising. He's getting everybody to do the right thing. And his encouragement, it's organising encouragement in the right kind of way. He's not bullying anybody. He's taking them on a journey with him. But Ben is outstanding, and he will play a very significant part in the kind of direction of the club. And he was at South Shields for a long time. He's had a very good career, but he's far from finished. And you saw there in the session, he's a fit lad. He's just come off a few days stag do, I think, in Ibiza. And some of those drills that we put that guys through were very difficult. I mean, but he doesn't shirk, and yeah, I'm chuffed to bits to have him on board.
Okay, well, we'll catch up with you again before the start of the season. But for now, Dave Dickson, thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks very much. Thank you. Thanks very much.